We're going to shine the light. We're going to focus in on one of HSN's most beloved brands and personalities in what I am calling an evening with Mr. Andrew Lessman. Andrew, sir, so good to see you.
Thanks, Adam. Pleasure.
Andrew, we've been doing this the past few weeks with our wellness breaks.
Which I've really enjoyed.
They've been fun. They've been fun.
And we've been taking little items out of the news and just answering questions about them, talking about them. And tonight, it's really going to be about questions. Questions about my company, questions about the products. I have a long list, I think, of about 400 questions that I've been provided, and we'll try to go through it. So it'll be not so much about the products, which we'll have a product graphic up, of course, but and we're going to talk about how my company started, I guess, to start with.
Well, you know, one of the great things, and as I've been here now for 10 years, Andrew's celebrating 20 years.
20 years. Wow.
This is the big finale, as it were, the culmination. There is a story to tell, because this dates back to, what, 1979?
79, yes.
And how? How did it come to be?
37 years ago. Well, back in 1979, I was someone, at that time, I was an athlete. And I had studied biochemistry, so I knew about all these different things I could be doing nutritionally to support my athletic performance, to support my recovery. Interestingly enough, the same things that an athlete focuses on in terms of, you know, optimum performance and in terms of recovery is the same thing we focus on as we get older, when we want to recover from our daily activities, when we want to perform at our very best and function our very best. But I wanted these supplements that were not available. I had read about things like CoQ10, I had read about glucosamine. And I was a pretty resourceful guy, and I realized the only way I was going to have these supplements is if I made them myself. So back in 1979, for myself, I started making these products. And then because I was resourceful, I figured, gosh, as long as I'm making supplements for myself, other athletes expressed an interest in them, I could bottle them up and make them for other athletes. And the next thing I know, it was professional athletes and professional teams and a lot of actors and celebrities. And so that's how things got started, literally 37 years ago.
So just to rewind a second,
right.
You're telling me, Andrew, you were making them yourself. By your very own hand, you were making them, vitamin by vitamin.
When we do the remote, interesting enough, when we do the remote out of it, one of the first products I made was at the time called Essential 100.
Right.
Because the most we could get into a single capsule was 100% of the RDA. Our Essential 1 we talk about now, it just shows how far we've come. We get so much more nutrition in this small capsule than any other person puts in a tablet. But that was the first product I was making, running on a capsule machine. So it's, for me, a little bit nostalgic when we do my tour around our facility in Vegas.
Magnificent.
And I walk in front of that capsule machine. That's a machine that I spent hundreds and hundreds of hours in front of. And the competitive person I am, I always tried to see how much more quickly, how many capsule output I could get. So it was, but that's, for me, I started this never intending it to be a business, but simply, you know, a love for me of trying to make things better. So for me, trying to make things better was my being healthier, my being able to perform better, my being able to recover better. Because back when I was involved in sports, it was the time when sort of performance-enhancing substances started coming to the fore. And athletes, we all knew about it, but you had to make a choice, whether you were or whether you weren't. And for me, I was not going to go there. So for me, it really became about how can I optimize my athletic performance without compromising my integrity? And it was all about using my knowledge of biochemistry and medicine to create supplements that enabled me to perform better. And what we're looking at today, when we look at, say, our CoQ10, some 36 years later, we were the first company to offer CoQ10 back in 1984. It's a recently popular ingredient. I was doing it back in 1984. That's 32 years ago. So it's
you helped pioneer this in so many ways.
Yes.
So that kind of brings me to the next question. And, you know, as we talk about this, Essential 1 that's on your screen is a great way to begin. Because, Andrew, for a lot of us who know you, who watch you, who've listened to you over the years, we already understand. But there's so many of us as well who maybe have never taken a vitamin, are not on a daily regimen, don't take any supplements, and we go into a store and you see row after row, shelf after shelf, you're bombarded with all this information. How is your line different?
No, it's so confusing, and I often used to say it's the process of elimination.
Right.
And when you look at other products, you literally do eliminate them. You don't get to use them. But it's very confusing, and our products, what I always say is I often say things like you could compare us to our competition, but there really isn't any. because the more you learn about how we go about making our products, the first simple fact that we actually make them ourselves distinguishes us from most brands, because most brands don't make their own products. They haven't invested in the manufacturing. We had to invest in the manufacturing because no one else engages in additive-free, 100% pure manufacturing. No one else can make our products for us because of the way we go about making them. So our products from that very standpoint become unique. That's why Essential One can be so high potency, because there are no additives, there are no binders, there are no fillers. It's a 100% pure product. That's why I literally took my life in Santa Monica, moved to Nevada, to Henderson, Nevada, because going to the low humidity, dry desert air of Nevada, we were able to get so much more active ingredient into a capsule, because mind you, we won't make tablets. Making a tablet, when a company makes a tablet, they basically tell you, we don't really care about your digestion, your stomach, how you're going to feel. This is just an easier way for us to make this. We don't really care that we're going to put binders and fillers, and we hope you don't care either, or maybe it doesn't matter.
Wow.
So for us, it's all about making sure that not only will you try the product, but most of our products, most of our orders, whenever anything is ordered, most of our orders are 90–95% reorders. Because the really important thing isn't whether or not I can speak about a product sufficiently passionately to get you to try it. The question is, after you try it, will you keep ordering it? And we are by far here at HSN, among the tens of thousands of products, the most reordered, the least returned. So that's what makes me proud of our products, is when you get them, you fall in love with them.
But Andrew, you say that and you state it so clearly and you make it sound so easy. You were bucking a trend in terms of doing things differently. How challenging was that?
Well, it was very challenging. Basically, the only choice I had was to make my own products.
Right.
The only choice I had was to invest in manufacturing. Because if I was going to be like every other vitamin company, which is basically a marketing company.
Yes.
We had no marketing. We still have no marketing budget.
Right.
I'm here. That's our
This is the marketing
budget.
Monday night show.
Yes. So it's for us, it was all about, the whole investment was in the product and in the creation of the product and the research and development of the product. And we sold everything direct. Originally, the first way we sold our products was I literally went to 10K races, marathons, triathlons, where there were more fitness and active individuals. Because remember, back in 1979, 1980, 1981, the people really concerned about supplementation were more active, fit people.
Right.
Now we all focus on supplementation, but you really have to go back and think 30+ years ago. And I was putting little flyers on cars. My dad still reminds me of the fact that I'd have him running around with me at like marathons where people parked and we put little flyers on their windshields of their cars.
That's unbelievable.
Yes.
But truly, I mean, you started the way you meant to go on, and that legacy, that truly legendary service, quality, credibility is there. So in terms of you trying Andrew Lessman products tonight, we're just excited to bring this story into your home, into your living room, so you can understand why so many people swear by this. And tonight we'll talk about joints, we'll talk about healthy hair, skin and nails, we'll talk about, of course, Essential One, all these different areas in our lives where we're looking to make improvements. But Andrew, I started with you with Essential One. And I was at some stages taking the little gummies. I was taking many.
Which gummies are, I mean,
I saw the look on your face.
Don't get me started talking about gummies. But there's no reason to start increasing the levels of colors and sugars and all sorts of things. This is a multivitamin in a small, easy-to-swallow capsule that the only thing you're getting, the active ingredients, the beneficial ingredients you want, levels of vitamin D that rival a separate vitamin D, levels of B12 that rival a separate B12, a full B complex. And the most common question we had is, where do you start?
Yeah.
Where you start is right here. We could talk about CoQ10. Some people might want to start there because you get a full B complex, vitamin C, and your CoQ. But this is really the foundation. You know, a multivitamin, multimineral might sound boring, but it is the foundation. We can't escape our biochemistry. We can't escape the blueprint that the big guy upstairs gave us. So all the other products might have more exciting and interesting things to talk about, whether it's omega-3s or glucosamine or turmeric or different things like that have all sorts of exciting research. but there's still no product in the world that has more research than the combined ingredients in a multivitamin. And there's no more affordable product when you look at all the ingredients in a multivitamin. And there's no multivitamin like this. This will never upset your stomach. The levels you get are far exceed what you get in the typical multivitamins out there, because we follow the research. We don't follow the minimum levels, we follow the research. And shall we go and look at the pricing charts?
Because Andrew, would you agree that now more than ever, multivitamins are really all the rage? People want them, people absolutely want to invest in them.
I think now the medical community has given them more credibility in recommending them. I think, but as I was just saying before, as much as they're sort of the standard that we should all start with, I think we get distracted. We get distracted with all the hype about other ingredients, and we forget that even though multivitamins don't have the hype, they still have the science. So, and that's why for me, my Essential One has always been, my multivitamins have always been our most popular product, because yes, there are other ingredients that we talk about that has all sorts of headlines right now. But just because the multivitamin isn't getting headlines, it doesn't mean, it's sort of like we take things for granted.
Right.
And you can't take for granted the ingredients in a multivitamin. For those of you getting my multivitamins over the years, you've always gotten, and I got criticism for this 30+ years ago. Now, it proves I was right, because I've always had higher levels of vitamin D in my multivitamin than the minimum levels. I had to field calls from doctors saying that's too high a levels, it's going to be a potential problem. Of course, we now know that the levels I provided were the correct levels, and they were wrong. They were absolutely unequivocally wrong, because they never read the research and the science, which is what I do. So now you're getting 1,500 IU in my multivitamin. I never offered a multivitamin with less than 800 IU of vitamin D in 37 years of making vitamins. It meant I got a little bit of flack for that, but I was doing the right thing for the health of those using my products.
It's amazing, and at this moment and this opportunity to be with Andrew and to share this story on the Monday Night Show is very important to me, because as many of you know who I've met along the years, when I meet you in the mall, when I meet you at the airport, and you ask me, well, what's great on HSN? What should I look at HSN? I will always say Andrew Lessman. I ask if you take vitamins. And so I would ask you now, like I've experienced the benefits, if you have been considering, thinking, currently taking other multivitamins, please consider Essential One, because the integrity of the ingredients is unparalleled. You talk a lot, Andrew, and it's so important about wellness rather than illness, to prevent, help prevent. This is one of the best things, and it's a way to start, as you said.
No, I was personally on a path to become a doctor, but at the time I had a conflict, and I remember speaking to the dean of my school and saying that when the focus becomes more on wellness rather than illness, then this would seem like a logical path for me, because otherwise I need to be on a path where it's more preventative. It's more logical, more pragmatic, and so the path, it's funny, 30+ years later, and I'd always thought things were going to head in a better direction, but 30+ years later, the medical community in our country, it's even more about illness. It's more than $1 trillion spent every year in drugs, more than $1 trillion. There isn't, it's funny, I speak French. In French, there isn't even a word for trillion. They say 1,000 billion. Wow. Which is, so it's just a staggering number. We spend over $3 trillion. We call it health care. It's illness care in our country. So what I say is it's really up to all of us to partner with our doctors, to become more informed about the things we can do to ensure our good health, and to not look at vitamins and supplements as drugs or medicines, but respect them for the power of the nutrients they contain. Just when we talk about cancer, we could look at diet and lifestyle, and diet and lifestyle are responsible for, in some fashion, for most of the cancers that we will experience. Right. So we possess a great deal of power. It's not all negative, that just because diet and lifestyle can cause these things doesn't mean that if we have a better diet and lifestyle, we can't prevent them. And that's the most exciting news of all, that wellness is in our hands, and supplementation is just part of that equation.
It's so important, and I think for a lot of us, when Andrew talks about this, just like we've mentioned over the wellness breaks, we all know it inside. We know that we have to make certain changes in our lifestyle. We know that we are very vulnerable, especially at this time of year, and we'll certainly talk about that a little bit later on. But starting here, starting today, starting now with Essential One is such a wonderful decision. It's an investment in you. Now, we are getting questions, so I do want to ask and answer them, as it were. The weekend special pricing for Andrew's 20th anniversary is extended until tonight. So everything that we're going to share with you and show you and everything online. I mean, it's a wonderful time, Andrew, to obviously to try and experience, and anything that you decide upon, you have our massive extended return policy. That's through January 2017.
And typically with Essential One, with any multivitamin, like an omega-3, which we'll talk about in a little while, these are the products that are difficult to swallow, problematic on your stomach, upset stomachs, indigestion, all sorts of things. You could read the reviews on this product, and I think there's a couple of thousand. Yeah, there's
a few to choose from, Andrew.
But look at what's amazing there. 2,734 reviews, of which 2,301 are 5-star reviews. Between 4 and 5-star reviews, you're at 2,547. So that means less than 200 of the 2,700 reviews aren't 4 and 5-star reviews. It is a compellingly, perfectly reviewed product. I mean, it's an impressive, and the reviews, if you read them, they're eloquently written, they're passionately written. So it's a great opportunity. One of the most common questions, where do you start? You start here. Essential One. It's the foundation. It's not maybe as sexy a product as omega-3s or glucosamine in terms of benefit, but it is the foundation of everything. And our levels, you won't find a better B-complex supplement than our Essential One. You won't find a better vitamin D supplement than our Essential One. So it gives you all of the benefits of all those separate components rolled into one. Not minimum levels, but research-based levels. And then we also, I was going to run through some of the separates, because once you start the foundation with Essential One, that's when we get more personal in terms of what you'd want afterwards. Many folks choose to take about 3,000 to 5,000 IU of vitamin D.